Hi everyone, Tom here with a quick update video about Carpoon's launch. It's been over a month now, so I wanted to reflect on it. This releasing a game of this size, even though it's kind of a smaller game, was one of my bucket list goals. So now it's done. I never have to be regretting later on, like, oh man, what if I made a video game? I wish I made a video game. Well, it's done. Never again do I have to worry. I may make a game again, as I'll get into in this video, but yeah, mission complete. So leading up to launch this year in 2025, big focus was just to write out, it's about 8 different goals and chip away at them, because it's hard just to look at the end and say, well, I have to get to there without having a clear roadmap. Things like cars leaving the stage to have a bit of a time pressure to the game. That actually turned out to be a bigger one. The darn music that would sometimes stop or have 2 tracks at once. I had to overhaul the music system. Using estate machines, that finally worked. I think adding clapping in the scoring summary, that was a bit of scope creep, but it was well worth it. Just joking about the car should clap like how characters do in Smash Brothers. And yeah, just testing. And towards the end, there was it took a really long time to make sure all the different settings and modes worked for 1 to 4 players, showing lives. If there's a time limit in waves mode or versus, what happens with stage progression, like the bridge is opening up and the auto works. When there is no time and it's just based on stock. There's a lot of weird edge cases that I worked on. It took a lot longer than I thought. I thought maybe I'd be done in like a week. And of course, typical game dev is over a month. Yeah, but finally I got to that point. And one of the things I did do is, because sometimes I would delay Carpoon, like I wanted it to be out in June around my birthday. But I would push it back a bit. So I let Carpoon slip into the 2-week period that Steam doesn't let you delay the game anymore because they're boosting it in their algorithm. And unless you are really desperate, you can email them for delay. And I was like, no. And I let it slip to that point. So it forced me to release it on August 7th. Doing that, though, I should have probably had the trailer done a month beforehand. I kept just polishing the game. I didn't actually finish the trailer until the final night before launch. Yeah, that, so that was something I could have done better. I'll change in the future. The trailer, I would say I was very lucky to have friends like Calvin, Yerk, and John help me record footage. My laptop at the time, I didn't realize that like OBS couldn't record while running some of the stages, and couldn't have done it without them. Eventually I found out there is hardware acceleration in OBS, so I can record Carpoon footage now, but hindsight is 2020. So, Carpoon is kind of a solo developed game, but without the help of my friends along the way in testing and lending it a helping hand in moments like that, I couldn't have done it. I probably would have stopped at one point without playing it with friends. I'll say some feedback this year from playtesters is great, but I couldn't do all of it. But at the end, some features had to be cut, and some things I couldn't get to. Doing the global game jam earlier this year foreshadowed that, where there was stuff that I know I could easily do, and there just wasn't time, and I had to just choose the best notes. Now I know I spent 7 years making Carpoon, but in order not to release it forever and have the words of my brother echo in my head, like, are you ever going to finish Carpoon? I had to make some choices. I probably should have done more marketing work leading up to it. I think Yerk says it best, like you have to be, marketing your game to make sure people know about it. And it's something I'll focus on future ones. Just being my first big game, until I hit that button, I wasn't sure that I could do it. I wasn't fully sure. With marketing the game, probably could have done better. I did feel that it got to put up or shut up time in the last year or so, where I wanted to, I felt like people were getting tired of the posts I was doing, and it was just time to release the game. Now, I did do, I think it was almost 40 different live streams for the road to completion. That was something I just wanted to start right away at one point, and I did, without overthinking it. And that was a fun way to get to the end of making the game. Okay, so I guess when Carpoon came out, like Mark Brown, I don't want to get into exact numbers. I'll say it surpassed expectations, but at the same time, it only made enough for about a month of my expenses. I don't buy a lot, fortunately. So that's kind of why I could finish my dream goal of making Carpoon. So saying that, still super happy that it's out there in the world, but at the same time, not retiring, and I'll have to think about things differently for game 2. Playing Carpoon with friends along the way, a lot of great memories and fun, and met a lot of great people thanks to it. So, wonderful experience. Things that on launch, it went pretty well. It's had a lot of nice shout outs from friends. Really nice of Linus to feature it in the WAN show less than 24 hours after I asked him. Really thankful to all my friends who retweeted it. Big thanks to Waiting for Nintendo to have me on for a developer interview about it. That was a fun highlight. The launch day, Brendan, the crawl asked, did it hit yet, the feeling of launching it? And it didn't at that moment yet, because it wasn't until I saw some of the reaction that it did, and it set in. Pretty sure I actually cried at one point. If some things went wrong at launch, I had been testing from Steam Deck to a 4K TV, and thinking that covered 4K TV support, but no. Apparently, that's different than a PC to 4K TV in my case. I should have done that as well. There are some issues with the objective scaling and the different DPI that a laptop or TV can do. So now I have to test a 4K TV in 2 different ways. Also, ultra wides. I had that working earlier in the year when I had an ultra wide, and no longer worked for objectives. The scaling was off too, like 4K TVs. I went to one of those things called a store, and I bought an ultra wide, and I got it working fairly quickly after launch. And at that point, I kind of just was burnt out. Just was really tired for a long time. But yeah, there's now a lot of modes to test for, being a regular PC, 4K TV from a PC, ultra wide, Steam Deck, and TV from a Steam Deck. Because I think that's a great way to play, couch co-op for it. One thing I forgot during launch is that, or I didn't know, or kind of just forgot, it says really important to get 10 Steam reviews. So if you play Carpoon, please leave a review, an honest review. It'll help make the game better. Unfortunately, if I gave you a key, like I did with so many of my friends, to say thank you, you cannot make a review that counts. Yeah, doing that makes your game show up in the Steam discovery queue. So now in the future, when I see a game, with me not done any reviews, I'm going to try to remember to leave a review myself. But I forgot. So that's a new sort of mini goal I have for Carpoon. Get to 10 Steam reviews. We're about 6 right now. Future update goals. I still want to finish that monster truck boss. I have a live stream where I got the tires working correctly under it. It could be a really premium vehicle in the game. And I have a few other updates in mind. But I'll be seeing how Carpoon does throughout the rest of the year. And at some point, of course, I'll have to stop updating Carpoon and transition on to a new project. But it all depends. In Carpoon, it's a lot easier to test something like, let's say, leaderboards in Carpoon than in a new game, and learn about it that way. So with finding new goals, I did finish a lot of goals, in the last year or so, like seeing a whale that's not a dolphin for the first time. I saw humpback whales. For games, like I probably want to do more prototype games or game jams with other people, kind of like what the creator of Downwell did, where he had, I think he got to 12 or 14 games in 12 or 14 weeks for hitting Downwell, and then see if those ideas do well on the size of it for Steam. Because so yeah, making games with other people is something I want to do. I already started this global game jam back in January. I wouldn't recommend this, but I did the GMT game jam with Yerk and my friend Napsta back the weekend before Carpoon came out. And we went hard at it for the 4 days in the game jam. You can leave your immature comment below if you want. And in that, the reason I did that, a sane person might not have, but a few years ago, there was a chance for me and Yerk to do the game jam. We wanted to do an Unreal game jam. Wanted to make an Unreal game for GMTK. And I had some work that weekend, so I couldn't do it. So it was on me. It was on me to make the time this time around, or there wouldn't be a chance again. And that was one of my top 10 goals. So I'll gladly do it again. It was a great experience. Only thing we do different is maybe practice more about version control so we wouldn't overwrite each other's changes. And I ended up with more supporting role in that one because I'm newer to 3D. While both Yerk and Napsta had more experience. So it was great to see how quick they could put things together. And a part of the reason why this update's so late after Carpoon's launch is I also did it again with Scott Popular. I had promised Scott that I'd work on a game with him, and it turned out it's kind of needed like the last couple of days. So it's a really small game. It's just like the card matching game from Mario 3 with a bit more flash to it. And yes, I did that. So that was another one. So I hope to continue on that course. If you see in the description, I'll probably put a link. You can try to beat my high score. So thank you for watching me ramble on for a bit with this Carpoon update. Thank you to everyone who bought Carpoon and has played it, or who helped me along the way to its development, through its development and release. Thank you to Peach, Matthew Kirkyard, for the wonderful music in it. That made it so much easier to play during development. And if you want to play a round of Carpoon with me, feel free to reach out or hop into the Carpoon Discord. With that, I want to say good luck in your own goals. I hope if you get a bucket list goal, like finishing a game one day, you can do it too.